Welcome to our Mentoring to Support Newcomer Integration, which is part of our Mentor Appreciation Week for 2021. My name is Doug Piquette, and I'm the Executive Director of the Edmonton Region Immigrant Employment Council, and I'm very pleased to welcome you all this morning. I would like to begin by making the following declaration. Mentors are an essential part of ERIC programming, and quite simply, we could not make it without you all. My colleagues down in Calgary have a resident elder, Elder Patrick Dagnon, who cited something very interesting the other day, and I had to share it with you this morning, a term called sanctified kindness. And I wanted to share that with you because what Elder Patrick had mentioned when he gave us the term sanctified kindness is about building a relationship with everything, including people. And he said, the interesting thing about sanctified kindness is that you can make the impossible possible if you come from a place of sanctified kindness. And I thought, how appropriate to start. And I'm by no means an elder, and by no means, I'm not trying to give you a blessing as an elder, but I thought those words were something I really wanted to share with you this morning. During this time of incredible professional transition and at times isolation, mentorship can help to anchor us all. The connection and meaning it can bring through the rapport and clarity of purpose is so critical to supporting professional newcomers through their profound transitions, and it can strengthen as well relationships across your organization. While we know that mentorship will help immigrants to find and retain employment, the impact on those providing the mentoring, that's all of you, is often overlooked. Successful mentorship is much more about active listening than giving one-way advice. And when approached from a place of reciprocity, there are substantial benefits to mentors and employers, specifically in terms of management and leadership skills. Once again, on behalf of ERIC, we thank you and value your time. I would like to introduce you to our Career Mentorship Program Director, Azume Degung, who will also be your MC today. Azume.
Hi, everyone. I hope my audio and my video are okay. I'm honored and excited at every opportunity I get to connect with and celebrate ERIC mentors. And today is no different. Today, we're going to have conversations around the power of mentoring to support the integration of immigrant professionals. We will start off with a keynote presentation on the 3 R's of great mentors, what I learned from my best mentors. Steve Uwazota will help us with that. After that, we will move on to a panel discussion with some of our mentors, one of whom is a former mentee, and then we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. First off, I'd like to, can someone change the slides, please? Yes, okay, thank you. Before we begin, I would like to take this opportunity to respectfully acknowledge that the province of Alberta is comprised of Treaty 6, Treaty 7, and Treaty 8 territory, and the traditional lands of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit, whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. I would also like to acknowledge our sponsors and our funders. Our main sponsors who've made this event possible today, that's Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. Most people just say IRCC. They are our major and principal funder, and also funder of our sister organization in Calgary, CRIAC. The government of Alberta has also been a major funder of our programs over the years, and we'd also like to acknowledge the financial support of our major corporate employer partner, RBC Royal Bank. Thank you. Thank you to all of you who make our program possible, who make the support that we provide to immigrant professionals possible. Before we jump into things, I'd like to move into a few, talk about a few logistics. You will be muted as a participant throughout the presentations in order to avoid any distractions and background noise. We're going to stay muted. Anyone who's not presenting at the time will stay muted. And if you look at the bottom of your Zoom window, there are two communication options. One is a chat box and the other is a Q&A box. Please use the chat box for any comments and technical questions if there's somewhere that we can help you. And the Q&A box, please use that if you have any questions for the presenters. Both chat boxes will be monitored by someone on our team. Sarah, thank you for helping us cover that angle. And we will record this webinar and post it on our YouTube channel shortly after when we're done. Feel free to subscribe to our channel. Actually, we encourage you to subscribe and to share and get other people to subscribe. We have really great content on there. The link to subscribe will be shared in a follow-up email. Moving on, this is the agenda we have for today. As I did mention, the topic is mentoring to support newcomer integration. And in the next 20 to 25 minutes, our keynote speaker, Steve, will have the floor, and he'll go again over, like I mentioned, the 3 hours of great mentors and what he's learned from his best mentors. And then we'll have the panel discussion. I'll introduce the panelists later on. We do have a busy schedule, and we're trying to stay on time. We know that everyone has to get out of here in court at 11, so we're going to try to keep things on track and stay on time. So I'd like to introduce Steve. He did have some technical trouble earlier on. I'm hoping that that's been taken care of.
Yep, I'm here.
You're good? Okay, so give me just a quick moment to introduce Steve. Steve leads a team of finance professionals to support the growth of Scotiabank's commercial loan business in Ontario through collaborative and sound credit risk management policies. His career spans several fields, including investment and corporate banking, credit risk and portfolio management, and brand management. He does have a passion for community service, and that has led Steve to serve with organizations like the Black North Initiative, Achievers Ontario, and the GCA Education Society, in addition to the work he does with supporting and providing mentoring for newcomers to Canada. So please welcome with me, Steve Uwazota. Steve, you're very welcome. We can't wait to hear from you.
Thank you very much, Azume. Good morning, everyone. If I confuse the time, it's because my Ontario brain is kind of fighting with my Alberta brain. Like most of us here, I'm a very proud Albertan who just reluctantly moved to Ontario recently. So thank you very much again, Azume, for the warm welcome. And just want to give a big shout out to the entire ERIC team. What you do, your impact really does transcend generations and transcends, the great city of Edmonton and our great province of Alberta. Because for every immigrant that lands on the shores of Canada, there is an entire community whose ability to thrive, whose livelihood depends on the success of that immigrant. So, the work that ERIC does in helping immigrants to find their footing, to reestablish their careers, to build networks in the community, that is really important work. And, I am really excited and proud to be part of that. And really thank you for having me today. Before we go for any further, is everyone hearing me okay? Seeing me okay?
Yes.
Perfect.
We can hear.
Okay, perfect. And also just want to acknowledge the support from the Immigration Council of Canada and the corporate sponsor for today's event, RBC. Thank you for all you do. Like most of us here, I am an immigrant to Canada. And when I think about my journey to Canada, when I think about how the journey has evolved, there are some things some words, some feelings that all of that invokes. So I just want to see, maybe folks can type into the chat's comments, when you think about your journey in Canada so far and how it's evolving, what kind of words resonate with you? For me, one word that always resonates with me when I think about my journey in Canada is the word blessed. I feel blessed to be a Canadian. I feel blessed to be part of this wonderful mosaic of different cultures, different backgrounds, as we seek to sort of uplift one another and make, the world a better place. So go ahead and type, if you will, what word comes to your mind when you think about your journey to Canada? Do we have any? I'm just going to go ahead and type mine. Fortunate. Somebody says fortunate. Right. Yeah, keep it coming. Accomplished. Blessed. Thank you. Thank you. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Open-minded. I like that, Cindy. Open-minded. Long. Transformative. Transformative. Struggle and achievement. That is very true. Supported. Yes, you can type it more than one word. Just keep it going for the next 30 seconds. Supported. Yes. So accomplished, long, struggle and success. Yes, all that is true. And I can resonate with each one of those words because that is our story. That is our journey. We struggle, we struggle, but we accomplish. We feel accomplished. Resilience, I love that word, resilience, yes, resilience. These are all words that I can relate to, and thank you everyone for sharing. And I like to do that. Adaptive, that's an amazing word there. I like to do this anytime I'm giving this talk because, first of all, I want everyone to see that our journeys were different. We have different backgrounds, we have different aspirations, but the story of our lives is literally the same. We've had to adapt again and again. We've had to demonstrate resilience again and again. And on top of that, many of us on this call today, in addition to our family responsibilities, in addition to the stakeholders that have a pull on our lives, you're volunteering your time, your wisdom, your energy to helping to pay it forward. And I just wanted to thank you for that. I wanted to thank you for doing that because I have been blessed and fortunate to have mentors in my life, and I am still evolving, but the sense of accomplishment I feel today would not be possible without the help of mentors. So what you do is critical. What you do is life-changing. What you do is transformative. What you do is helping somebody build resilience on a day-to-day basis. And I thank you for that. And I, like you, I'm very invested in mentorship. This is something I would do if you wake me up at 12 midnight, because I believe very strongly that we live to give. We are blessed to give. We have our talents, we have our opportunities, we have everything we have been gifted, including the gift of being in an amazing country like Canada. We have all been given all these gifts to give. And every one of us here that are mentors, and those of us on the call that are aspiring to be mentors, thank you for going on this journey with us. And, I certainly feel the rewards of being a mentor myself and see it both ways. Very quickly, I want to share 3 thoughts that are helping me to form a compass for how I approach mentorship and how I approach even life in general. Some of these things, none of these is revolutionary. These are reminders of things most of us already know and do, but they are simply profound in how they have helped me to reshape how I think about life. And so most of these I learned from my mentors and even my mentees. And I just want to point out to say that as much as we are giving back through mentorship and the fulfillment that comes from inspiring somebody else to achieve their greatest potential, I also find one of the great benefits of mentorship is how I get to learn from my mentees. Somebody I was fortunate enough to coach at some point years back, today, he's giving me coaching on how to navigate some new challenges I find with my current role. So as an immigrant, the way leadership is practiced around the world is different from the way leadership is practiced in Canada. Even if you journey across the border to the US, which is very close, from a distance standpoint, leadership styles vary in Canada and in the US. So I was fortunate to mentor this gentleman 5 years ago. And now that I'm in a leadership position, I am looking to him for guidance because he has been in this system. He understands Canada better than I do, and he is providing me with very important, helpful tips to help make my leadership transition less steep. So one great benefit of mentorship, in addition to doing all these great things for people, is that we can also learn a lot from our mentees. So I'll just quickly share those 3 thoughts with you, what I consider the 3 R's of great mentors. Number 1 is renewal. Any immigrant who's landed on the shores of this country, whether you were, from the vintage of the 1490s or the 1500s, or you just came 2021, one thing common with immigrants is there is this hidden, invisible pressure that we all face. Because like I said at the beginning, for everyone who comes to the shores of Canada, there are communities, there are people who are depending on you to succeed. There are people whose ability to have an opportunity in life is dependent on you. So number one R is renewal. Because of that pressure that sits on top of most of us that are coming from immigrant backgrounds, and because we thrive in that pressure, most of us, or if not all of us, we turn that pressure into motivation to be successful. We turn that feedback in that interview of, sorry, we couldn't hear your accent. We turn that into motivation to be better. And all that is great, except that sometimes we forget to take the time to renew. When I look back at my career, some of the worst mistakes I've made in terms of the quality of my work, in terms of the quality of my decision making, came at moments in my life where I refused foolishly to prioritize renewal. I did not value the impact of rest as much as I should. And that leads to poor choices. And if you think about it, depending on which culture you're originally from, sometimes asking for help is a sign of weakness in some cultures. That certainly impacted me negatively because I was crumbling under the weight of expectations. I didn't know where to go for help. And frankly speaking, I thought asking for help was a sign of weakness. So I want to encourage everyone today, prioritize renewal. Take that day away from work. Take that time away from the kids, from whatever commitment you have, because we do our best work from a place of rest. We do our best work from a place of rest. And I noticed this with my most impactful mentors, people who have scaled heights. They have succeeded against impossible odds. One of the things that I am learning from them is they prioritize renewal. They rest. They take time for themselves. They redefine success. And I'll make that very practical. Like I said, most immigrants come with a pressure that, that is invisible. Sometimes the best thing we can do for ourselves is to redefine success. I told you at the beginning of this conversation, I am an Albertan, proudly Albertan. I recently moved from Calgary to Ontario. And if you're paying attention to the news, you realize that, if you wanted to get your home in Edmonton or Calgary, you're going to have to pay 3 to 4 times, in some cases 5 times as much, in the same type of neighborhood characteristics in Ontario. So the pressure is on. Oh, Steve, you left your detached house in Calgary. What are you going to do? And the whole pressure keeps coming to you and just chokes your creativity. And you have to kind of break away from that and say, look, I define success. I define where I live. If it's a condo, it's fine. If I'm happy, that's good. So I want to encourage everyone, as you think about renewal, as you think about your mental health, think about redefining success. The fact that somebody from your background made executive vice president in 2 years doesn't mean that you have to follow that same path. So let's take off that pressure, that invisible pressure that chokes our creativity, that robs us of rest. And then let's actually do some rest in ourselves, because immigrants, we pride ourselves with our capacity to be resilient. Resilience is great until it becomes a stumbling block. So resilience is great, but rest and renewal will give us the ability to bring our A game all the time. The next R I want to talk about is risking it, taking risks. Most immigrants by nature were risk takers. We are risk takers by nature. Many of us left comfortable jobs. Many of us left, the comfort of foods we loved in Eastern Europe, in Asia, in Africa, in Europe. We left all of that and we came to a new land. We bet on ourselves. We were confident that regardless of what we heard, that we were going to thrive in this land. That's what we do. And for many of us, that has paid off. And for those of us who feel it's a struggle, it's a journey. It's a journey. So why do I say remember to take risks, knowing that most of us are risk takers by nature? Something happens to us when our journey begins to evolve. We get to a point where we find it, we stop taking risks. And when we stop taking risks, we stop growing. Now, risk taking might look different for each individual. For somebody on this call, risk taking might be giving some tough, some challenging feedback to a mentee that you feel is living below his or her potential. Maybe the mentee is used to getting favorable feedback. Maybe the challenge, maybe the risk for you is to tweak that feedback a bit. For somebody else, risk taking might mean when the decisions are being made at the hiring table, for you to suggest to the panel that the consensus candidate may not be the greatest candidate, that in fact, an overlooked candidate might actually possess what we need for success on this job. That might be what risk-taking might mean. So risk-taking, and I'll give an example of something like that recently for me. One of the things that has helped me very much in my career is when I see opportunities, I seize them. So, everybody's talking about open banking in my field. And I reached out to the person in charge of the bank's open banking strategy. And I said, hey, if there ever was an opportunity for a cross-functional team to work on this issue, please let me know. I would love to be involved. Guess what? The person did not respond. And that's okay, because most of the time we are held back by thinking, oh, what if? Flip it around and say, what if not? Now, this person did not respond to me, and that's okay. But the flip side is I reached out to a different person because, if anybody who's been in corporate Canada, we understand that mentorship is critical, but sponsorship is even more critical. I reached out to someone asking them to be my corporate sponsor, still the same mindset of taking risks, because what do I have to lose? I reached out to this individual, and this individual, our values aligned, and I thought I could bring value to them as well. So I led with value, and they responded to me, and we have a fruitful relationship today. And that relationship has been critical, very critical to my success in the organization. So I want to encourage everyone, don't forget your risk-taking roots. You're a risk taker by nature. Take calculated risk. Put up your hand for that stretch assignment. If you have flexibility to be geographically mobile, put up your hand. Take that risk, because in taking risks, that's where the opportunities for further success lie. Exactly. Someone said you will miss 100% of the shots you do not take. And for us immigrants, especially those of us who have built some momentum in our careers, we are often very, very risk averse. We forget our risk-taking DNA. So today, I want to remind you, you have that DNA in you, unlock it. And for 2 quick seconds, the last R is retool. Retool. COVID has changed the world as we know it. We are not going back to what was normal, because we can't put this genie back in the bottle. So we're going to have to adapt. Someone said at the beginning that your journey to Canada means you are adapting. So I want to encourage everyone. And in terms of retooling, what the specific point I want to encourage everyone to take away today is proactively look for feedback. It's hard to get critical feedback, I find. Maybe your experience is different, but my experience is it's hard to get critical feedback because people don't want to hurt people's feelings and all of that good stuff. It is incumbent on us as leaders, as mentors, as mentees, to take the onus on ourselves to find that critical feedback. You've applied for a position, leadership position, 3 times, you were overlooked, and the comment back was the bland, we went with the more experienced candidate. That's great. The question is, how do I become that more experienced candidate? How do I repurpose my gifts, talents, and everything I have in my arsenal to be the preferred candidate? Do I need to build a bigger alliance of mentors and sponsors? Do I need to be more visible? Do I need to take charge of meetings a little more proactively? Retooling your skill set, retooling, in fact, it could be, and again, retooling is going to look different for everyone. You know, for some people, it might mean taking your skill set from one industry to another. I was speaking to a leader I met recently, and she's a data, she is like a legit data wizard, if you like data is, it's like she just understands her way around data. And so because of that expertise, she wasn't getting what she wanted in her industry. So she took her data expertise and retooled it to be effective in a different industry. So retooling looks different. It might be feedback, it might be critical feedback. It might be tweaking something in our day-to-day delivery. It might be tweaking something in our management style. I have had to tweak my management style so much in the last 180 days that the leader I am today is very different from the leader I was 6 months ago. So with that, I just want to remind you again, we live to give. We do our best work from a place of rest. You have the risk-taking DNA. And I just want to conclude by saying, thank you for all you do for the community. I appreciate the honor and the opportunity to chat with us today. And I just want to encourage you, especially for those of us who are on the fence, thinking, should I get involved and become a mentor? The rewards far outweigh whatever consideration you're putting back. Call it karma, call it good luck. There is something about mentorship that makes Canada the strong country it is. And we need you to join that army of mentors. Thank you, Azumi. Thank you, everyone, for listening today, and have a fantastic rest of the day. Bye-bye.
That was amazing, Steve. That was really good. It was nice to hear just your the context of which you explained. You know, these, like you said, these are not brand new, never heard of things, but you just breaking it down and applying it to the work that our mentors do and helping them to translate that into how they mentor. I personally learned, you know, I did catch some insightful things there. I was thinking about risk taking, and indeed, sometimes we get comfortable. We take risks up to a certain point, and then we get comfortable and we just want to coast. This is a reminder today, as individuals in our own career, to not be afraid to take risks. Risk probably got us where we are, and probably need to take a few more risks to keep going. And about retooling and reskilling, I've had a whole podcast on that and how it's just awesome. Thank you, Steve. I really, truly appreciate your time. And the comments are, yes, the people are dropping really good comments. That was really good. So we're going to move on in the interest of time. We're going to move right on into the panel discussions. Our panelists, if you can come on board now, you can feel free to turn on your cameras. Yes. Our panelists are seasoned professionals, all of whom have a passion to pay it forward and support immigrant professionals. So please welcome with me Suyash, Lawrence, and Rathada. I'm going to share a little bit about each one of them. I'll start with Suyash. Suyash is a mechanical engineer and management graduate with a law degree from India. He came to Canada in 2017, and he has rich experience in corporate real estate, property management, and real estate management. He's currently employed with Stantec, and he heads their real estate administration function for India, Canada, and the USA. Say hi, Suyash. Hi, thank you. Next up is Lawrence. Lawrence moved to Canada in 2016, and he brought with him about 15 years of sales and marketing experience across different Fortune 500 companies, ranging from financial institutions, manufacturing, CPG, and marketing communication companies. He is currently with Philip Morris International as an area commercial manager, and he does love spending time with his family. And since moving to Alberta, he has become an Oilers fan. Yes, I'm an Oilers fan too. Go Oilers!
Yeah, go Oilers. Thank you, Azumi. Yeah.
Nice to have you here, Lawrence. And then next up is Rathada. Rathada is an APEGA certified mechanical engineer with over 10 years of experience in design, manufacturing, and consulting in the oil and gas industry. Her passion for mentoring is driven by a desire to pay it forward and share the help that her family received when they moved to Canada as refugees in the 80s. So thank you, Rathada. Say hi.
Hi. Nice
Hi, it's an absolute pleasure to have each and every one of you here today. We're going to go into a little about just some context about your experience mentoring. Why do you mentor? What do you gain from mentoring? How do you see it support your career and your mentors' careers? I do have a few questions prepared. And then we also got to be conscious of time. So I think that the first question that I'm going to ask, I will probably put through to everyone, just to see your thinking, and maybe we get insight for people who watch this video later. There's somebody whose audio is on. I do get feedback. I'm not sure where that's from. Okay, not sure. Hopefully that works. So maybe I start with Lawrence. Lawrence, here I am. I'm fresh off the plane. It's my first time. It's been, in Canada. I've never been here. I've been here less than a month, and somebody connects me with you. I'm trying to get my career started. What would be the first advice you give me?
Well, the first advice I'm going to give to any new immigrant coming into Canada is you need to network. And then also I'm going to tell the person that rejection is always normal. And then don't feel defeated or don't feel discouraged when you get rejection from people, because you're going to get a bit of that before you fully settle in.
I totally agree with you. I think that the concept of networking is something that a lot of mentees don't quite grasp, because where they're coming from maybe their home country where they have a network that has grown over time that they didn't work on. So maybe they went to high school with someone and grade school with someone and university, they go to mosque or church, or they have cousins and cousins. So they didn't build that network, but they have it. So the idea that they have to build a network here, it's something that's new to them. And rejection being part of the package, I've heard somewhere, I don't remember where, and I don't quote me if I'm not sure about my figures, but I've heard that you have to get so many no's before you get an actual yes. And so rejection is part of the package. Thank you for highlighting that. I'll pose the same question to Rathada. If I was fresh off the plane and I connected with you, what would you tell me?
Get really warm clothes and jackets, because you'll have to prepare for this weather. So that was, we moved in the middle of winter, so it hit my parents pretty hard. But I would say, as definitely networking, but how do you network when you land in a country and you don't really know anybody, right? So I would say join a community. Whether it be a religious community, a cultural community, even your neighborhood community, or a community like this. That's where you begin. And that's where you begin your networking, and you build that web of people, meeting people. And you never know where that connection can lead you, because you never know who you, the world is really, really small, and you have to start somewhere. So I would suggest getting involved in a community, maybe volunteering for a community, and then you get to know people. You feel more comfortable, build relationships, make some friends, and make this your home. And that's how you start.
I agree with you. Make this your home. I think that's something that I said to myself a lot. I'm not on holiday. When we first came, I would remind myself, I'm not on holiday. I live here now. And so I was very determined to be a person of the soil of sorts. And I think that's one of the ways that we got into hockey as a family, because hockey was never a thing for us. But now we're really wild Oilers fans. And I agree with Rathada. Finding a community, volunteering, meeting people. It could be simple things. I do know that in my community, sometimes in the spring, we do a neighborhood cleanup where we just, because when the snow melts, we find all sorts of things under the snow. But that's a great tip for mentees. Go out, network as much as you can, meet people, volunteer. You want to try to build that network before you need it, right? You don't want to be meeting people the first time and be asking favors. Suyash, what are your thoughts on that?
I would say, first of all, when you land off the plane, understand the fact that you are starting a new dream, a new chapter in your life, and know your strengths very well, because that's what is going to take you to different places across. I would completely agree with Lawrence and Rathada that joining communities and trying to be a part of the stream is probably the most important part. I'll just add to it, stating that when I landed in Canada, my networking started with, being a part of religious communities where people are coming for religious beliefs and things like that. I was volunteering for the temple in Edmonton, and that's when I got to know my first connection, who happened to be my professional connection. And today he is a very good friend. And that introduced me to Eric as well. And therefore, I'm proud to say that I was a mentee, and today being called as a panelist. So that's the journey I have taken. I would strongly suggest that just be focused on your aim and keep on moving in the right direction. Nothing is small, nothing is big. It's just the aim that you take.
Great, great. Yes, fun fact. Suyash, I do have some feedback again. Technology can be weird sometimes. I don't know if I'm the only one who hears that. But fun fact, Suyash was a mentee a few years ago, and we're so glad to, have you paid forward and give back. And I agree with you. You want to be you want to be articulating what your strengths are and be connecting any way that you can. That will take me into the next question. I'm trying to figure out who to throw the question to. Is everybody ready for me? Maybe I'll let Rathada take it this time. So Rathada, how do you prepare for a mentoring relationship? So you've just gotten an email that says this is a profile for you. You've accepted to mentor, and you're going to meet with your mentee in a few days or a few weeks or however soon. How do you mentally prepare? What are the strategies you take? Do you do their profile? What do you do? Can we please mute if we're not speaking? I still hear that feedback.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. I try not to look into my potential mentee too much. I read their resumes so I can get a feel for their past experience or past work experience and see how I can relate and how I could potentially help them with any networks that I personally have, and see if it could relate to them. Not necessarily potentially sharing it, but I like to go in with an open mind, not knowing too much about them until I meet them the first day. And so it's an organic and authentic way of meeting them, like meeting a person for the first time. So that's what I try to do anyways. And then after our first discussion, I try to get a feel of who they are as a person, why they came here. And for the most part, I'm fairly new to mentoring right now. I've only had 2 mentees, and both of them had a desire to find work here, a permanent position here. So I feel like I wanted to manage their expectations. Like, I'm not here to give them a job. I wish I could, but I'm here to help them stay motivated and encourage them to stay positive and encourage them to be patient and just give them advice and help navigate their new life here. So that's what I do. I don't really look into them too much. I just get to know them throughout our 1-hour meetings once a week.
That's nice. That's nice to know. I like how you talked about it being organic. As much as I personally have a thing for preparing, and it's a good idea, but you also don't want to be too robotic about it. Now, still in the context of preparing, Lawrence, I know that you're in a leadership role now, and I'm thinking, being a leader now, what did you do to prepare for the role of leadership? What did you learn about the business, or what kind of how did you do with building relationships in the workplace? I like how Steve talked about the difference between a mentor and a sponsor, and that's something that we can have a whole session on. But it's important to have sponsors. So was that something that helped you to get into leadership?
Well, that was actually part of it as well. But the main thing for me is consistency, and then being visible within the organization where you work. As an immigrant, when you work in a place, some people, they have different kind of qualification from back home, and people have done so many certification when they move to Canada as well. But the problem is people are kind of timid. They don't make themselves visible. And then nobody's going to know what you're made for, the stuff that you've got, if you don't show it to people. If there is a meeting and you're opportune to talk or you're opportune to speak clearly, and then let people know that you have this and then you can do this. This is what you can actually bring to the table. So for me, getting into leadership position, when I joined this organization, I've been for 4 years right now. I've seen people that are like mentors and then sponsors as well. And then the work that I do, what I bring to the table as well. I was very consistent in my day one, starting my career at Philip Morris. And I know where I was going to have like a sort of career plan and a path I want to take. So those are part of the thing that's actually helped me. And then also I always make myself available for any project or any opportunity. Like, when Steve was talking the other times, that like he reached out to people like, I mean, how about our head office is in Toronto. So if there is a new project that they want to start, I can reach out to the person that is the project. I'm interested in this project. I can be of help. I've done it in my past life and I can contribute into it one way or the other. So those kind of things gave me some visibility within the organization. And then when there was an opportunity to lead, and my sponsors and then the people that I look up to within the organization said, this guy will be a right fit for the role. So that's how I got into leadership here.
I like how you talked about visibility. I find that a lot of the time, in my experience, mostly with immigrant professionals, there is a timidity that is bordering on humility. We don't like to toot our horn and blow our trumpet because a lot of the time our culture teaches us to be humble and say that, you know, don't let people speak up for you. I don't think that that's quite how it works in the workplace here. I will not encourage anyone to be in everybody's face, but at the same time, just like you mentioned, putting a hand up when there's stuff to be done that you know you can do. Don't be afraid to, you know, put a hand up. And if you don't know how to do it, but you're willing to learn and try, put a hand up and say, you know, this is new to me, but if you're looking for someone, I'd love to give it a shot. And I'd also like how you talked about the quality of your work. I've often said to people that personally, and this is just my own mantra, the quality of my work is for me a currency of transaction. So I want people to see my work, and if someone says Azume did that, they can say, yes, I will not argue. She does great stuff. And so I think that as mentors, and also as we go into coaching our mentees, we should preach the gospel of the quality of our work from day one. Someone is always watching. And at some point, there will be an opportunity for people to highlight that you do great work. And those are key things with moving into leadership positions. So thank you very much, Lawrence.
And also, Asuna, I just want to add to it. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no.
I like
Nobody
that.
will ever bring it to you. Like, you need to, if you don't ask, the answer will always be no. So
always
you have to
be no.
So
it's like Rathada said earlier, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You didn't take it, it's a definite miss, and it's a definite no. The next question, I think that Suyash, I will let you answer that because I'm thinking of you. I know you're a mechanical engineer, but then you're in real estate, and then you're doing corporate real estate. I'm not the most versatile person. Like I count that my 2 + 2 doesn't make 4 there. So talk to me. What did your career? How did you go from being an engineer and then going into real estate? Where did you start your, like, just talk to us about all that journey as quickly as possible because we got 10 minutes more.
So I am a mechanical engineer, as you rightly said. I started my life as a shop floor engineer. And that's when I realized that I am better to be on the management side rather than being on the shop floor. So I decided to take my management education and subsequently got an opportunity with real estate. I specialize in real estate, and therefore I did my specialization and subsequently got many jobs, which gave me the exposure towards corporate real estate. Being in the corporate real estate side, I enjoyed doing transaction, and that's when I got into my law degree to understand what I was doing is correct. And then as probably, I mean, anything that you do in real estate has a financial implication. And that's how my journey translated from being a mechanical engineer to the corporate real estate management professional. Technically, yes. I envy Rathada and people who are actually on the engineering side now, because the grass always looks greener on the other side. But certainly, it's been quite a journey, and that's how I went into the profession. I enjoy thoroughly what I do, so that's how I'm here.
That's nice to know. And I asked you that question because I get asked that a lot. I do. My first degree is in economics. And you can probably guess I'm not an economist. But I think that as individuals, there's just a journey in different aspects of our lives, including our careers. And there's so much that can happen with transitioning as we journey. But we're almost out of time. So I'm going to let me see. I'm trying to make sure that I make the most of this. So maybe, hopefully everybody can answer this and we can move on quickly. Recently, there's been a lot of emphasis on work-life balance, mental health, trying to juggle this new world we're living in. And like Steve said, we cannot put this genie back in the bottle. So for work-life balance, can you reflect on a time where you've had to prioritize your professional, your personal life over your professional, Rathada?
Yeah, that's something that I've been searching for a while, work-life balance. And it's harder now than ever for me personally right now, because I'm nearing the end of a maternity leave. I just had another baby. So I have an older child in kindergarten and a 10-month-old. And I'm thinking, should I go back to work right away? Now with COVID and everything, I can't just put my baby in a daycare or a day home and risk exposure, because babies can't be immunized. Babies will always put things in their mouth, always, and they're guaranteed to get sick. So yes, definitely a difficult concept to balance work and life right now. So it's something I'm juggling right now. I'm thinking about extending my mat leave just so that I could stay a little bit more at home with my kids right now until I can figure childcare out, and then go back when I'm ready. But yes, it's definitely a struggle. And I feel like as a working professional mother, I'm sure you're in a similar boat. It's a struggle for us. I mean, I think it's different for a husband, a man. Not to say that they don't also share in that, but I think there's more expectations that a woman has, and as a mother, there's more expectations that we put on ourselves, and maybe society puts on us as well, that we're supposed to be able to do it all. And right now, I'm putting aside career just to keep my family healthy and safe, and give my kids a present mother right now. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It is, and hats off to the men. We appreciate all that you do. We, as a mother and as a father, I think that we all have different strengths and a uniqueness of the kind of challenges we experience. And I know that personally, I struggled at the beginning of the pandemic when we had to work from home. I had 2 kids in elementary school, schooling from home. It was wild in this house, I can tell you. It was, and then I was taking a course at the University of Alberta. There were days I would work till 2 a.m. But it gets better, I think. Lawrence, I'd like to get the thoughts, the men's thoughts on this before we wrap things up. And Vahid said something about, I'm just going to read that out just to acknowledge. He said, can we rephrase it to balance between work life and home life, because work is a part of our life as well? I totally agree with you. So Lawrence, very quickly, has there been a time where you've struggled to balance work life and home life?
Well, first of all, shout out to all the mothers that are doing the most. It's been a struggle, and it's always going to be a struggle to be able to balance work and life. But what I've realized, the director that I report to right now doesn't joke with his renewal, as Steve rightly said when he was talking the other time. I know maybe for mothers or for some people, it might be very hard for you to say, you know what, I'm just going to take a break from work. But there's another place, and there's another thing, that if you are not at that work, the work will still go on. That's just a fact. If you don't work for that particular organization anymore, they will hire a new guy, and the guy will continue. So balancing work and then your life can be challenging. But as an immigrant, we have so many competing priorities as well. We have different challenges, maybe from back home, for settling into a new environment as well. But at the same time, our mental health and our mental state is equally important as well. We don't want to burn out. So what I do personally is, when I see that it's getting too much, like I'll give you an example. When I become a manager in my current organization, like my first year, I was just trying to impress my boss. I'll be working till late in the night, 11 p.m., like on holy hours and stuff like that. But it was taking a toll on my health. And at some point, I just say, you know what, this needs to stop. Like I've seen people that check work emails after 5 p.m. those work email can actually wait till tomorrow morning, unless you're a medical doctor. If you're not saving lives, nobody's going to die till Monday or till the next day. So, and that's what I told my team member when they are pressuring me, and I'm like, we are not saving lives here. We are only selling the product. So if you cannot wait till tomorrow, then it is what it is right now. So we should just take our time as individual to relax, to refresh, to travel and go and breathe the air of fresh places. You don't need to travel on the plane. You can just drive to another neighboring city and then just refresh and then renew and then come back to whatever it is that you want to get to. It's hard. I'm not going to lie, with kids, with COVID, with everything, juggling everything together might be hard. But at the same time, we have to take a step backward and be like, my health is equally important. But because it's only any individual that is healthy that can move on in life. If anything happens to your health right now, disability is going to come. You're just going to be at home. So we just need to try to find a balance, however it works. If the work is getting too much, just relax and then take a holiday or take a break.
Thank you so much. Suyash, because we have very little time, can you tell us in 30 seconds how that applies to you?
In 30 seconds, I will just say take ergonomic breaks on the work that you're doing. Be mindful of the fact that you stand for your family and your value is indispensable. Nothing can replace. As Lawrence and Rathada correctly said, hats off, first of all, Rathada, hats off to all the mothers. You guys, what you do, we can't even think. So forget about the contributions. However, with regards to Lawrence, certainly I would agree that it is for your family. You have to put yourself first and obviously make sure that unless there is a pressing priority, you do not compromise your personal time. I do my passion. I just walk down, take breaks, and that's how I make myself healthy. So I guess that's probably the best way to do about it. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for reiterating, everyone, for reiterating the importance of rest and renewal. And it is only a person who's happy and healthy that can do good quality work. Doug, if you wanted to take the next minute or so, we did have a poll for you, but I don't think that we have time for that or even the Q&A. But I encourage you to please email me if you have questions. I will get them to the panelists and then get you those answers, or feel free to connect with the panelists on LinkedIn as well, and you can reach out to them directly. Monsieur Piquet?
Oh, thank you, Azumi, and thank you, panelists and mentors. And I'm going to refer back to the Elder Patrick and his reference to sanctified kindness. I heard a lot of that coming through. I mean, I love Steve's, sort of breaking it down to 3 particular points and touchstones. I think when we do this journey, I think keeping it simple as possible, and having these references, touchstones, are so important, because life can get complicated. Mentorship can get complicated. Rathada, I really love the fact that you take some time and just get to know the person. You have the resume, but you take some time and breathe in the mentee, and then start establishing the relationship and finding out what their needs are. I think that's really the essence. So, and the sanctified kindness goes into what Lawrence is also talking about and what Suyash is talking about. And I think taking time for yourselves, well, Rathada as you as well, of course, taking time for yourself is so important. You can't do the work that you can do for us or for your company without taking and being kind to yourself. So, sanctified kindness means being kind to yourself. You're the only ones who can make that time. Otherwise, you can't give what you have been giving to your business, to our program, without being in that sort of zone. So thanks again to Elder Patrick for his sort of very wise words. And thank you all of you who are on the line today and participating in our program. We just thank you for participating. I know a lot of people said on the LinkedIn campaign, said thanks to Azumi and Sarah and the team and to Eric for giving us the opportunity to be mentors. And I think it's, for us, that's an easy setup for us to do, but you guys do all the heavy lifting. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We can't thank you enough. This whole week is dedicated to celebrating our mentors. You all know that I take you seriously. We take you seriously at ERIC. We cannot do the work that we do at ERIC without you. So you're very much appreciated. And thank you for being here. We're 1 minute over, but have a good day, everybody. It's icy out there. Be careful when you drive and when you walk. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.